out of Oregon, and I'm going to give the 49ers Nick Bosa. And that's going to leave the Cardinals with Ed Oliver, and then that's going to put the Raiders in the clock at 4 because the Giants are going to take a quarterback at 1. We don't know if Herbert's going to declare. He might not declare. Drew Lock might go number 1 instead. The quarterback's going to go first overall. If Herbert doesn't declare, Daniel Jones out of Duke might get pushed up. But the Giants, it feels like the Giants are going to take a quarterback at 1, or they'll take Jonah Williams at 1. Either way, it's not really – I think the Giants go QB at 1. Now, if Herbert comes back, they could go Jonah Williams at 1. That is an option, but I think the Giants are actually going to take an offensive player at number 1, and I really believe that because they do need an offensive line help. They got rid of Erect Flowers. They never really replaced him. They could get Jonah Williams as a right tackle at number 1. He can play left tackle. They can move Soldier over to right tackle, I guess, but I like Soldier at left tackle for now, and they get him a bookend. That helps Eli, but they want a long-term quarterback. You know it, the writing's on the wall, so I'm going to say the Giants get a QB at 1, and then I think the 49ers get Nick Bosa. I like Ed Oliver better than Nick Bosa, but Nick Bosa's a better scheme fit for San Francisco, and I just feel like Justin Herbert and Nick Bosa, those 2 picks are set in stone, and assuming Herbert declares. And then number 3, the Cardinals, Ed Oliver's on the board. They would take him in that scenario because he's the best player on the board, and if he's there at 3, Cardinals will take him. Now, if the Raiders lose and the Cardinals win, the Raiders will get Ed Oliver. That will happen. But if Ed Oliver's the top 3 player, go ahead and interject.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think the Raiders need a defensive tackle when they already got him?
They don't really need another defensive tackle. They need a defensive end or an edge player.
Right.
Let's an outside linebacker.
So if they're going to get a defensive end, they might as well, if they miss on Bosa, they might as well just take either they're going to miss on Bosa, they might as well just grab Clelin Ferrell.
Clelin Ferrell is great. Don't get me wrong, but Bosa's just way better on tape, and I just feel like Ed Oliver's the best player in this class. Like, you cannot pass on him, no matter what. He's the next Aaron Donald. Like, if you pass on him for Clelin Ferrell and Ed Oliver goes on to be the next Aaron Donald, that's going to come back to bite the Raiders in the Like, a lot of people do have a top 10 grade on Clelin Ferrell. I had a second-round grade on him because I didn't like his motor, but he did well last year, and he's done well this year, too. So, I mean, I really can't fault them. 18 tackles for a loss, 9.5 sacks as a sophomore redshirt. And then as a junior redshirt, he's had 10.5 tackles for a loss and 6 sacks in 7 games. So, I mean, he's had a good year. Hasn't had as many tackles, only 25, but whenever he's made a tackle, it's usually been for a loss or for a sack or something. So I can't really sit here and act like he hasn't made an impact. But I don't know if he's made the impact that Nick Bosa has, or he doesn't have that flash and explosion off the edge that Nick Bosa has, but he's talented. He doesn't have the explosion Bosa has, but he can make sacks. He can make things happen.
Yeah, but we'll see how things change. Anyway, let's do their second pick.
I'm going to do the Cardinals Ed Oliver. Since you don't want the Raiders to take Ed Oliver, we're going to do so is Clelin Ferrell at 4 your final selection?
Clelin Ferrell, because you know who I'm taking at number 10 there.
Yeah, you've got 8 and 15, so I'm going to go ahead, Clelin Ferrell. Brian Bayless did an awesome job getting 51 through 60 up. We didn't have 51 up last week, and I will move Ferrell up. When we adjust this board, I will move Clelin Ferrell up from 51 into the first round. I don't know where we'll put him yet, but I will move Clelin Ferrell into the first round because he is a first-round talent. I just don't know where he's going to get picked yet. It depends on where Bosa gets picked.
But don't get me wrong, Ed Oliver's there. I don't know who they'll take. You're absolutely right on that. But if you look at the depth chart on the defensive tackles for the Raiders right now, I mean, we could double check.
Yeah, the Colts are on the clock at 5, though. I'm going to go Jonah Williams, Alabama offensive tackle at 5 for the Colts. They need a right tackle next to Costanzo, and you put Jonah Williams in this offensive line next to Costanzo, who missed the first few games due to injuries. You put him next to that line with Ryan Kelly, another Alabama veteran, and Quentin Nelson. This offensive line, it goes to a whole new level. You move Braden Smith back to right guard. Braden Smith's been playing right tackle, but Braden Smith's not a tackle. He's a guard. So you have an offensive line that good. Andrew Luck is going to have a wall, and with that wall, he can really sling it. So, I mean, you get another lineman for Andrew Luck. Never go wrong with this pick. And if Costanzo gets injured again, you can just move Williams to left tackle to avoid such a terrible start. So, Jonah Williams to the Colts.
Okay. What are you doing? I'm sorry.
I gave the Colts Jonah Williams, the tackle for Alabama, to the Indianapolis Colts to pair with Nelson, Ryan Kelly, and Anthony Costanzo, the Boston College tackle from the 2011 draft. So the Colts got Jonah Williams.
Oh, okay.
It's a good pick for them.
The other right, and I mean, yeah, the other alignment, I don't know how, is Greg, Mr. Reliable Little from Ole Miss. He made Josh Allen look pretty good.
Yeah, and the Bills are on the clock at number 6, so we could just give them Greg Allen. I love the timing here. I mean, I love the timing, Oren. I'm going to give you credit for that. It's a good – Bills do need offensive line help, so we'll go Greg Little at number 6. He was another late addition to the draft game today. Another player that is getting first-round grades from throughout the community that I'm going to have to study more on tape. I don't think he has first-round tape, but that's what I thought heading into the season, and everyone has a first-round grade on him, so I'm going to have to rewatch his tape just to make sure he's as good as advertised. So that leaves number 7, the Cleveland Browns. They don't need Devin White. Oakland could snag Devin White at number 8. They don't need another corner. I mean, they could get another corner next to this is a tough situation because I feel like the Browns do need a defensive tackle. So that leaves us with Rashawn Gary out of Michigan.
Derek Brown, right? Derek Brown available?
Derek Brown is available. The Auburn defensive tackle. Yeah. I can put him on the board. I have him at 46, but I can move him up. Yeah, I have a few defensive tackle. A few Alabama defensive linemen on my board. Raquan Davis and Isaiah Buggs. I don't know if Williams is draft eligible, but he's someone I'll add after the show tonight. All right, so that leaves the Raiders at 8, and the best player on my board at 8 is number 4, Devin White, the LSU middle linebacker. So you went with Farrell, or is now the time to take Devin White at 8 to replace Derek Johnson?
Definitely the time. Raiders really needed a linebacker this year. That's one of the defensive players that they're missing. They definitely have defensive problems. They can definitely change. If they can use their 3 first-round draft picks and get defense, that would be amazing. Devin White is extremely productive this season. I think his past season, 133 tackles, and he can play all sides of the ball, really. But White is still learning a little bit. But, man, is he going to progress in the NFL? It's a great pick. I love this pick. Number 8 goes to the Raiders, and Devin White would be wonderful.
Yep.
Now let's go to number 9.
Yes, and number 9, we have the Tennessee Titans. Greedy. All the corners are still on the board, but the Titans really don't need a corner. And I'm really torn on what to do with the Titans because they lost their tight end Delaney Walker for the year. This is a tough situation, but they can cut one of their corners. They could draft in their corner in the draft. I'm not sure what route to go with the Titans here. They lose 2 of their pass rushers, Arakpo and Derek Morgan, to free agency. They did get Harold Landry, though. He's done well. I'm going to go Josh Allen to Kentucky for the Titans. Pass rusher off the edge, 34 talent. I think he's the right fit for the Titans at 9. And since I already clicked on Drew Lock on the draft game, we're just going to give the Jaguars Drew Lock at 10 to replace Blake Bortles. I like Bortles, but since I already clicked on Drew Lock, we're just going to put Drew Lock in Jacksonville at 10. Just because we can.
Yeah, right. That's not a bad pick.
So the Broncos are going to have a bit of a challenge at 14 when we get to them. But, yeah, that'll make things fun for the Broncos because we'll have to give them.
Yeah. I do like that pick over the Titans. I just do see them taking a corner. And I'm best on my board corner is DeAndre Baker of Georgia. They have Malcolm Butler has been just as disappointing. You know, so that's what I just see. DeAndre Baker has a terrific campaign last season, doing great this season, very athletic. It did great against LSU. So we'll see him.
I think the Titans should take a corner. I agree with you, but they paid Malcolm Butler. They paid Logan Ryan. They have to cut Logan Ryan to keep Malcolm Butler, and they spent a first-round pick on Adoree Jackson. So I went Josh Allen for that respective reason. But the Jets are on the clock at number 11. Morris Claiborne's a free agent, so the rich are going to get richer in New York, and the Jets are going to take Greedy Williams to pair with Jamal Adams, because there really isn't a receiver for Darnold to throw to on the board at 11. I mean, they could get in N'Keal Harry, the Arizona State receiver, who is the only receiver with a first-round grade on my board. We could have the Jets reach for him at 11. And on second thought, I am going to do that because I do have N'Keal Harry at 16 on my board. So if he's the only receiver with a first-round grade, we're just going to have the Jets reach for him at 11. And I think the Seahawks are on the board at 12, so they would get their pick of the corners.
You skipped the Jaguars, bro.
I gave the Jaguars Drew Lock at 10.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you. That's why.
So the Jaguars got Drew Lock at 10, and at 11, the Jets got N'Keal Harry, the top receiver in the class. So I believe Seattle is up on the board at 12, and then Denver's up at 13. But I know the Raiders pick at 15 with the Bears pick. I don't remember who picks at 12 through 14, but Greedy Williams, my top-ranked corners, they're at 12.
Right now, I'm number 12.
I think Seattle's on the board at 12. So you can give Seattle DeAndre Baker. I can give Denver Greedy Williams, if that's 12 and 13. I don't remember who's at 14, but I'm double-checking the order right now on the ticker.
Well, it says Eagles, Falcons, Broncos.
Okay, so is that the order? So it's Eagles at 12. Okay, the Eagles and Falcons, neither one of those teams needs a corner, which is tough. I really wish I could trade the pick in this scenario, but I am going to give the Eagles Devin Bush out of Michigan because he's the team captain. They have had some injuries, and I feel like Devin Bush is an upgrade over their current middle linebacker from Texas, who they can move to the Sam side to replace Kendricks. So I'm going to go Devin Bush, Michigan, for the Eagles at 12. Best player on the board, not named a corner. And with the Falcons, since they need a defensive tackle, they ignored that in the draft last year. They got Sinat in the third round, but he's not a starter. We're going to go with another Michigan player, Rashawn Gary. And then the Broncos are up at 14. They've got their pick of the corners. I'm guessing you want DeAndre Baker here, and then the Raiders. Or we could give the Raiders Broncos Greedy Williams to make you happy.
Right. Let me give you my 3 picks before we get to the Raiders here. I think 3 defensive tackles go off the board this year. You have the Eagles taking Jeffrey Simmons, Raquan Davis of Alabama, and then Gary goes and gets to the Broncos. And then if we wanted to talk Seattle, we don't know which order exactly it's going to come in.
I think Seattle's at 16 because they are 3-3. That's right.
Yeah, so Seattle would also take a defensive tackle, and then you have Dexter Lawrence is also available. I just think a lot of the linemen in that range go off the board. Let's get to the Raiders pick really quick. We talked about it off the air. John Gruden, I don't know. He got these 3 picks, and I'm just saying he's got to do defense. Defense is a priority. He did not take Minkah Fitzpatrick last year. He had that opportunity. Here, John Gruden is the safety of Alabama. Deontay Thompson, I really like this kid. Has a great blend, 6'2", 196 speed, athleticism. Going to be one of those kids that we want to see in the combine, and going to be enjoyed in his pro day, and it's going to make an effort to be on that top 10. But right now, we have him going here at number 15 to the Raiders. Is that what we're talking about? Good.
Yeah, so David Montgomery out of Iowa State's a player I'm thinking about adding. So that might be running back 3 on the running back rank whenever I do that, whenever I get to the running back rankings. Because that's a guy I think could be a second-round guy. But, yeah.
you hear my Raiders picks, right?
Yes. You had DeAndre Baker at 15, correct? Or Greedy Williams, I forgot.
No, you weren't here listening.
I'm sorry, that's my fault. That's my fault.
I completely we just talked about him over the phone last time.
DeAndre Baker?
Deontay
Thompson, the Alabama safety. Okay, so Deontay Thompson, top safety in the class according to most mock drafts. I have him a little bit lower on the boards, but I haven't seen his tape yet, and I'm going to get around to that this week because Deontay Thompson's one of these guys that I think could run away as safety one. Alabama, you can never do wrong with these players, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And that'll do it for our NFL draft game presentation. We're going to talk some college football on TalkShoe, so head over there, YouTube, if you want to check that out, and go to draftutopia.com/NFL draft game 2019.html if you want to play our draft game. It's also mobile friendly, so we've modified it so it's more mobile friendly. So if you're on your smartphone and you see our draft game, you want to click on players, go to the link. I'll even post the link in the TalkShoe chat room before I sign out so that if you're on TalkShoe and you see it, you can go to the link and play it.